Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Rundown. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sears. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
That's right. My name's Mike Piwowarski, coming to you live from the East Coast. That's the coast with the most, from the co-host with the most here on The Rundown. Two-way views, conservative news, and Craig, I forget, what do we do on Tuesdays again? What do we do on Tuesdays?
Oh, that's right.
It's raining tacos from out of the sky. Tacos, no need to ask why. Just open your mouth and close your eyes. It's raining tacos. It's raining tacos out in the street. Tacos, all you can eat. Lettuce and shells, cheese and meat. It's raining tacos. Yum, 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 yum.
Hey, dude, did you notice we had like the wave going on there for a second?
We had a wave of the wave. It was a wave.
We had a wave of the wave.
Yeah, we had a wave.
Oh, I don't know if that's like just us showing how old we are or just showing how cool we are for, the time in which we were raised.
Is cool the right word anymore? Don't the kids have something new for it, like they're sus or riz or something like that? Or I don't know.
It always changes. I have a hard time keeping up.
Yeah. I still say awesome or excellent 10 times a day. So.
Awesome or excellent. Okay.
Then I have an army word we throw in also. We have to throw an army word in. Outstanding.
Definitely outstanding. Most definitely. Well, hey, dude, it is what it is. We're having a good time, though. Here on The Rundown, 2A News, conservative views, chilling. Man, it is... I have to tell you something. It is every day I look forward to now reading the news because it's always something new. Donald Trump is not even president, and the entire world seems to be changing around him.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw, I think it's something like, I don't want to get the number wrong. I think it was 13 medals of honor that were approved in the past 2-3 weeks that Biden's been awarding either posthumously or to the one that was alive, which is a great thing, but why did it take this long? Why did you wait till the end of your term to do this? Why are you doing it now?
Dude, he is trying to change his legacy. That's all it is. He doesn't want people to remember, and we'll talk a little bit about that later, but he doesn't want people to remember how bad a president he has actually been. This is what it all comes down to.
I mean, this is the presidency that killed Jimmy Carter.
Well, because Jimmy Carter was, he wanted to be alive. He wanted to stay alive till there was finally a president that was worse than him.
Yeah, listen, and we've had this conversation before. Jimmy Carter was an incredible ex-president. He was an elder statesman. And I think he did such a good job at that God let him stay alive to see another president worse than him.
There you go. You knew, okay, I didn't complete. This guy screwed it up far worse than I did. But I will say the only thing that bothered me about him as a former president, he involved himself a little bit too much in discussing the policies of whoever the current president was, whether it was Bush or whether it was, well, let me clarify, if it was a Republican president. Instead of doing like presidents have historically done and leave themselves out of those policy discussions and just say, look, you know what, I wouldn't want a former president speaking about my policy, so I won't do it for the future presidents. You're not in their seat.
I mean, listen, I'm going to take your word for it, but I don't have any recollection of him doing that any more than he did when he was, doing the envoy thing for the Democrat presidents. But I'll take your word for it.
All right. Well, all that having been said, I think the work he did in terms of especially for Habitat for Humanity was phenomenal work. And I think you're right. I think he did at least work to be an elder statesman. So all that having been said, by the way, in case you guys don't know, Thursday is going to be, the post office is going to be closed. Military is going to be a military holiday, but it is an official day of mourning for the passing of President Carter.
I'll make one more observation just to make you feel old.
Yes.
When President Carter left office,
Mm-hmm.
you're the same age as him. You're the same age as he was when he left office.
damn. Damn you. Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah.
damn you.
And that was like 50 years ago too. So let's be, 55 years ago. So
That was
the kids must be in the room. The kids must be in the room.
For those of you who do not know, I just expressed my feelings to Mr. Pilwarski via sign language.
There we go.
One-handed
Right.
sign language, or rather, one-fingered sign language.
No worries. Got your back, brother. Got your back.
I appreciate that. See, full and effective communication. That's what we work towards here on the Rundown, is to make sure that we are fully and openly communicating with one another. All right, having said that, in order to further advance the communication, let's get into the program. And you know how it starts. It starts with a quick shout out to our sponsors.
Well, we probably got one of their barrels and don't even know it. Wait, are we still here? Are we here? What's going on?
Yeah, we're still here.
Why'd you switch back? Okay. You confused me. Confused me.
I switched back because I wanted to make sure that your audio was up and running.
Okay. So now is it up now? Is it up now? 1, 2, test 1, test 1, 2.
Yes, it's up.
Turtle. Hitman Industries, hitmanindustries.net. If you got an AR in the past 5 years, you probably got one of their barrels, don't even know it. Now you can buy from them factory direct for all your AR and other firearm barrel needs. That's hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly fighting a good fight behind enemy lines. Now you can take part in California's future today. If you want the best in tactical holsters, tactical concealed holsters, the best on the market, get on over to Hog Holsters. That's HAWG holsters.com, hogholsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown. It's all word, no spaces, all caps. Get a nice little discount. Talked to John at Hog Holsters today. He said, hey, to everybody out there. And of course, if you want the best in field gear, tactical gear, police, military, law enforcement, security, civilian, fire, EMS, whatever it may be, you can get everything except the gun at uscombatgear.com.
That's right, folks. These are our sponsors. They bring us to you so that we can bring you to them. Do them a favor. Do us a favor. Do yourselves a favor. Visit their websites. All you got to do is follow the link in the description to this program. Go there, check them out, spend some money with them. Make sure you tell them it was the guys over at The Rundown that sent you. Also want to encourage you, if you're watching the program live, we would love to hear from you. We are live 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, on Rumble, and we're taking your comments. So if you got something to say,
on Blitzen, on Keeper,
yeah, that season's gone, dude.
oh, sorry,
That season's gone. That season's gone. They're all on vacation now.
on vacation. There they go.
On vacation. There you go. But yeah, go ahead and comment. If we find what you're saying interesting, we'll go ahead and we'll share it with the rest of the audience. But we love the conversation. So go ahead and tune in. And also, if you haven't already done so, however you partake of the program, encourage your friends to do the same. Like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe once again. And encourage your friends to do the same. All right. Now is the time for all good men to come to the aid of their country. For those of you who took typing class. All right, let's get into today's stories.
Quick brown fox
Jumped over the
over
lazy dog.
Lazy brown dog. Yeah, quick brown fox jumped over lazy dog. That's it. Yep.
Quick brown fox
All
jumped over
26.
the lazy dog. They aren't both brown.
Why can't they both be brown?
Well, because I don't know, but that's not the phrase. Anyway,
Racist.
Mark Zuckerberg has made a major announcement, and in that major announcement, he's basically said that Meta is going to once again allow free speech to exist on Facebook, and has announced some significant changes in the policies that they're going to have in terms of how they're going to go about handling censorship. And for lack of a better term, they don't call it censorship. They call it defending community standards. And I wanted to play the beginning of his announcement because, one, while I applaud the steps that he is taking, I do take some exception with the folks that he is blaming or his explanation behind the change. Anyway, let me let you go ahead and listen to what he had to say.
Hey everyone. I want to talk about something important today because it's time to get back to our roots around free expression on Facebook and Instagram. I started building social media to give people a voice. I gave a speech at Georgetown 5 years ago about the importance of protecting free expression, and I still believe this today. But a lot has happened over the last several years. There's been widespread debate about potential harms from online content. Governments and legacy media have pushed to censor more and more. A lot of this is clearly political, but there's also a lot of legitimately bad stuff out there. Drugs, terrorism, child exploitation. These are things that we take very seriously, and I want to make sure that we handle responsibly. So we built a lot of complex systems to moderate content. But the problem with complex systems is they make mistakes. Even if they accidentally censor just 1% of posts, that's millions of people. And we've reached a point where it's just too many mistakes and too much censorship. The recent elections also feel like a cultural tipping point towards once again prioritizing speech. So we're going to get back to our roots and focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies, and restoring free expression on our platforms. All
right, so first off, I didn't hear any acceptance of responsibility that he was the one, or that not even that that the people at Meta, the people at Facebook were the ones who decided to engage in this censorship. He talks about the government coming after folks and saying we're gonna censor, right? He talks about the idea that we want to make the place safe. We don't want people selling drugs or sex or things like that on there. That's all fine and dandy, but there's a lot of stuff that, quite frankly, he needs to take ownership of. That in the statement he didn't, but. After this, he goes on to announce some of the policies that he's going to be implementing in order to make this happen. So one of the first things he says is they're going to replace fact checkers with community notes, and it's going to start here in the United States. So no more of these fact checkers, these left-wing groups like PolitiFact or Washington Post fact checks, who are clearly left-wing propaganda machines. They're not going to utilize them anymore, but they're going to utilize community notes, where everybody and anybody can correct or provide corrected information or stuff like that. Number two, they're going to simplify their content policies and remove restrictions on topics like immigration, gender, that are out of touch with the mainstream discourse. In other words, you won't get dinged on Facebook if you say men can't be women and women can't be men. Right? That if you say, for example, there are only two genders, one is from Mars, one is from Venus, and all the rest are from Uranus, you will not be censored, right? You will be allowed to have those conversations. If you happen to say that, for example, immigration and illegal immigration are two different things, right? Once again, you will not be censored. It says here they're going to change how we enforce our policies to remove vast majority of censorship mistakes by focusing our filters on tackling illegal and high severity violations and requiring higher confidence in our filters and to take action. So in other words, he's claiming that a lot of the filters were the problem, right? He's not claiming that, well, perhaps it was people who were doing it. And what I still believe, and I will still maintain in this particular case, is that it is the filters, or not the filters, but it's the people that were making these decisions. Someone would complain, and then the filters would determine whether or not they violated it. Well, in this case, if someone complains, it's still then going to be looked at. So I think that's a major issue with what they're going to be doing here. He goes on to say, it says bring back civic content, which basically means they're going to let you talk politics on there. A lot of you may not realize this, but even if you subscribe to places like, well, The Rundown, for example, if we're talking politics or you're not getting all of the content that we're putting out there. They're suppressing it. They were reducing it because once again, we were talking politics. So now if you subscribe to a politician, if you subscribe to a news source that talks politics, they're going to make sure that you still have access, that you now have full access to that content. It says they're going to move their trust and safety content moderation teams out of California, meaning out of liberal left-wing Silicon Valley and San Francisco, to Texas. Now, if they wind up moving them to Austin, Texas, which is almost as liberal as San Francisco and Silicon Valley, it's not going to make much of a difference. But anyway, at least they'll be in a freer state. And then finally, they're going to work with President Trump to push back against foreign governments going after American companies to censor more. Now, in his speech, Mike, one of the things that he points out is he talks about how they about how not only were foreign companies pushing censorship, but they were doing it because the Biden administration, he doesn't say Biden, he says that over the last 4 years, which basically means Biden, over the last 4 years, there's been an increase in the American government pushing censorship. And he's finally called it censorship, finally called it exactly what it is. Now, I'll say all of this to say this. I think I'm wondering if he's only doing this because Donald Trump is now president. He's trying to curry favor with the current administration, or if is this a real change of heart. I don't think we will know until the liberals if the liberals ever take over again.
Yeah, I like how you said, it might just be coincidence that it's because President Trump's taking office. Hello, like everything else going on in the world these days, Craig, it's because big bad daddy Trump is coming back to the house in 13 days. All right, we got less than 2 weeks to go, Craig. Count it down until MAGA hits the shelves. All right, and everybody's gonna be buying some. This guy is running scared. Now he's probably got a little bit of, well, if Elon can be co-president, why can't I be? I'm rich too. No, sorry, buddy boy. You're on the hit list, is what you are. Elon has been fighting for the freedom, for quite some time for First Amendment rights. You've been fighting to take it away and restrict it and try to change election after election. Guess what? You're done, buddy. It's time to go.
Well, here's what I will say to that. I don't know that there are a lot of people. I don't know that people, at least on the right, are going to trust him. But I can tell you right now, I do believe Donald Trump will take a partner for now in any place that he can get it. And because Donald Trump is like this, and this is politics in general. There are no permanent allies. There are only permanent positions, right? There are only a person who's on your team. They may not necessarily be on your team, but they can be used in order to get accomplished what it is that you want to get accomplished. And I'll tell you right now, if Zuckerberg thinks he's going to use Donald Trump to get what he wants, I will guarantee you that is only going to happen if Donald Trump gets what Donald Trump wants, and that is true free speech for America.
Big Daddy Donald J. Trump has got himself a nerd billionaire friend already. He's not taking any more. You're done. You're going home. You're going home.
Well, all that having been said, I'm looking forward to, at least I'm hoping that the changes over there at Meta are real. And quite frankly, it's where they always should have been. It's where he claimed it to be when he first started Meta. And I think anybody who thinks that there are not going to be politics in anything that has to do with communications, I think is being very, very naive. I know for a fact that Elon Musk knew that. That's why he bought Twitter, now X. And by the way, did it at a significant financial loss. I mean, he may never make the money back that he has spent on X. But I guarantee you, if it weren't for him, we would not see the movement that we are seeing right now, where people are actually starting to see the truth. It was like he completely red-pilled everybody on Twitter, right? And everybody on Twitter who didn't like the red pill and like, look, I want the blue pill. Yeah, they're all going over to Blue Sky.
Yeah, very much so. Let's be clear though. Let's give credit where credit is due. Elon Musk and Dave Chappelle.
Yes, they have been pioneers, comedy and technology. The smartest nerds. I mean, seriously, I think Elon Musk is he's trying to be like a modern day like Tony Stark, except instead of arms, he's promoting other technologies.
Yeah, the kind you could take into space and drop bombs on people from.
Excellent point.
Oh, you think you got yourself
and bring it back to Earth and parallel park it.
Yep. Exactly right. I'm gonna put a cruise missile in your hot tub, baby. That's what's gonna happen here.
I could totally see that. Man, just drop that just like right in Joe Biden's hot. I'm sorry, did I say Joe
Yeah.
Biden? Oops. Okay, moving right along.
Whoopsie.
Our next
Yeah.
story. Now, we had a. You might remember there was a piece that was put out. I had to be like 4 to 6 months ago, outlining who the best and worst presidents were, and basically they were trying to argue that Joe Biden would be remembered as one of the greatest presidents, or at least rated above a bunch of people who we know were better presidents than him. Well, now Gallup is out with a new survey, and it turns out, well, that may not be the case. Being reported by Breitbart News, it says here Gallup is saying Americans to remember Joe Biden as second worst president in history. President Joe Biden is the second worst president in American history, a Gallup poll found Tuesday. Biden and his aides are trying to make the case that he will be remembered as one of the greatest presidents of all time. Actually, the appropriate term they use is consequential. And by the way, consequential can also be bad. Anyway, but that does not appear to be supported by the data. 44% of Americans say Biden will be remembered as a below average or poor president. Only 19% say that he will be remembered as an outstanding or above average president. 26% think he will be regarded as average. Now, unlike I think you and I, Mike, now the worst president that they say out there was Richard Nixon. Now, I will say, other than the fact that he was impeached for trying to cover up the work of the RNC or whoever broke into the Democratic Party, Nixon was actually not a bad president. He had some things that I liked, some things that I didn't like. But they don't even put Carter as one of the worst presidents, which is neither here nor there. I still, in my lifetime, put Carter as the worst president of my lifetime. Oh, second worst. Biden's numero uno.
Yeah, I've got to agree with you. Gotta agree with you. And I would say for the history of ever presidents, he would be the worst ever president. So, yeah, I mean, Jimmy Carter had some fails. Jimmy Carter's problem was, when you think about it, he had no policy. He came in with no policy. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Jimmy Carter was just reactionary. He chose to react. He chose to react to a problem. He considered himself kind of a problem solver. However, the one problem that he couldn't solve and where he lost most of the country was with a number of hostages being held in Iran for 444 days. And I remember I was watching an interview when they asked, or he said to someone that he could mine the harbor in south of in Iran, but if he did that, then they might kill a hostage every day. So he couldn't do that. Well, it's exactly what you should have done. Nobody wants to see the hostages die, but if you do nothing, they're going to continue to take advantage of you, and that's what happened to his presidency.
Well, it was a lack of recognition that not everybody sees the world the way he does, and in this world, historically, when one looks, weakness, passivity will always bring about weakness. I mean, it's always a sign of weakness. And world leaders will take advantage of someone they deem or they see to be a weak president. There's a reason why you saw no new major conflicts against the United States during Trump's presidency, because he was not seen as a weak president. He was seen as somebody who was going to stand up. If you decide you're going to stand up, you're going to F around and find out. And that is now doubly the case in Trump 2.0, so much so that they're sucking up before he becomes president.
Oh yeah, they're trying to get in order and be like, yeah, we've been good the whole time, sir. We didn't just change because of you.
Yeah, well, once again, Biden, I think over time will definitely go down as the worst president in American history, especially as bad. I mean, he is ending so poorly. First of all, they've already pushed him off the stage. nobody was listening to a thing he had to say while the election was going on. And now everyone's treating Donald Trump like he's already president. And in order to seem relevant, he decides that he's going to release a bunch of terrorists, a bunch of child killers. He's going to release them, or not release them. I'm sorry, he did not release them. He's going to remove them from death row in order to make himself seem like not so bad a president.
Well, and let's be clear on this as well, right? All the people that he's pardoned, all the people that he's taken out of prison, all the illegals that he let in, those are the 19% that said he was favorable.
There you go. Them and those related to them.
That's right. Exactly right.
Yeah, no, I'm just wondering, and I'm wondering a bunch of those were probably White House staff, or worked for the DNC, because I don't understand, and I still deal with people to this day who will insist that he was a great that he just did a phenomenal job, and I'm just like, what world are you living in? They have so chosen to allow themselves to be gaslit. It's like, we need to send you to to be deprogrammed.
They're living in rainbows and fairy tales and unicorn land.
Yeah, well, California. It's not aging well, bruh. It's not aging well.
Nope.
Yeah, and that, by the way, brings us to something else that's not aging well, and that is being the sitting vice president who actually has lost the election for president. And that is Kamala Harris had the pleasure of presiding over the certification of her epic loss of the landslide election against her. At least when he was vice president, at least Al Gore could claim it was close, right? She can't even do that. But here's her presiding over the final tally of the 2024 election.
The votes for President of the United States are as follows. Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida has received 312 votes. Kamala D. Harris Kamala D. Harris of the state of California has received 226 votes.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, so are they cheering because she got fewer votes? Are they cheering because she lost?
Listen, we know that the Democrats don't know how many states there are. How many times we got to watch them say that? But she only got 17, bro. She got 17 out of 50. That's all she got.
Well, and in her defense, some of them were some pretty big states. But then again, liberals tend to like congregating together. They don't like living around the rest of us Americans.
Do you know who is the worst sitting vice president to lose an election and how many states they won?
No.
It'd be 1984, Walter Mondale. Excuse me, 1980, Walter Mondale. 84. He was a vice president.
Right.
He came back the next term. Walter Mondale run in 84, and he won one state, his home state.
That's right.
During
when
re-election,
he ran, yes.
He ran. I remember he came out. He ran as vice president against Ronald Reagan as president in 80. Then in 84, he came back as it was him and Geraldine Ferraro ran against Reagan in his second term, and he won one state. His home
one state. How bad is that to win one? Can you imagine running for president and only getting one state?
And I think he probably lost that state, but they had to give him something to keep.
They're like we can't just completely just give him a few ballots.
Give him a few. Somebody run to Pennsylvania, get some ballots for us. They got some in Georgia too, I think. Go to Atlanta, get them there.
Oh yeah, that just overall, man. I don't know. I just think that this is the sort of changing of the guard that we saw then, and I think we're going to start to see. In particular, I'm hoping in media in general, and I know we're not going to see it across the board, but I think you're going to start to see a little bit more humility in media and in social media. At least I'm hoping, in terms of this getting back to what their job is, which is calling balls and strikes, telling what happened, and letting the people decide where they want to stand.
Yeah, and if not, they're going to get. Then if they don't show humility, they're going to get smacked down, and they can have some humility while they're on the ground.
There you go. Yes, sir, Bob. Yes, sir, Bob. And I can tell you this: there are some folks who still have not learned. And if you need evidence of that, all you have to do is look at the recent passage of the Laken-Riley Act that passed the House of Representatives. And the fact that 159 Democrats in the House of Representatives actually opposed that measure. Now, you might recall who Laken-Riley was. She was the Georgia student who was raped and murdered by an illegal immigrant who was allowed into the United States under Biden's open border. So as noted here over in Breitbart, it says here, the House of Representatives passed the Laken-Riley Act on Tuesday morning despite opposition from 159 Democrats. The legislation requires the Department of Homeland Security to take into custody illegal aliens arrested, charged, or convicted of burglary, theft, larceny, or shoplifting. All House Republicans voted in favor of the Laken-Riley Act, which is named after the 22-year-old nursing student who was brutally murdered last year in Athens, Georgia, by an illegal alien released into the United States interior. Months before Riley's murder, Jose Antonio Ibarra was issued a citation for shoplifting in Athens and was later issued a bench warrant for failure to appear in court on those charges. Despite the charge, Immigration and Customs Enforcement did not take him into custody. Laken-Riley Act would require DHS to take into custody illegal aliens arrested, charged, or convicted for burglary, theft, larceny, or shoplifting. While 48 House Democrats joined Republicans in supporting the Laken-Riley Act, 159 Democrats voted against the legislation. Now, Mike, talk about not being able to read the room. Those have got to be folks who are in such left-wing. I mean, once again, we're not talking about general people who have come into this country illegally. We're talking about people who've committed crimes while they're here in the United States. And yet they don't want them to be deported. They don't want to be picked up by ICE or anything. They don't want them to feel any consequence. They want them to be released into the public so that they can continue to commit crimes like the one they did against Laken-Riley.
Yeah, those 148 were probably the ones you just saw cheering for Harris that she won second place. Probably the same ones. Why just burglary, theft, larceny, and shoplifting? Why not violent crimes? Because the law in the book says violent crimes, they already must be held for those charges and then be handed over to DHS. So this adds to that. This puts those people that have committed non-violent felonies or these other crimes. Larceny and shoplifting can be a misdemeanor, but it takes those people and puts them in, and theft could be a misdemeanor also. It could be, it takes those people and puts them into custody.
Well, but here's the thing. So, for example, in places like California, right here in the Sacramento region, we had a gentleman who was picked up, who was arrested for assaulting a California highway patrolman. When he got out, they did not notify ICE. They did not release him into ICE's custody. He wound up coming to Sacramento, and during a supervised visitation with his children, wound up killing both of his children, as well as the person who was supervising the visitation. This was a guy who clearly, if California were not a sanctuary state, would have been removed from the country and thus not able to take the lives of 3 individuals, including 2 children. And that's just one example. I mean, there's tons of examples of people who've committed crimes since they got here and been released. Mike, what about those guys, the 4 who assaulted cops? They were in New York and were released without bail.
Yeah. Now let's be positive about this. This is a move in the right direction. You know, they started at the low end. This is the low hanging fruit end. You know, once President Trump gets in office, you'll see bigger legislation come along that says for those violent crimes that are already on the book, that you shall. Although there is no claim to sanctuary status when it comes to this. If you do not do that, then, and I wouldn't be surprised to see, state executive officers or executive office of law enforcement agencies being charged with the crime as an accessory.
Well, and I think the new border czar has made it very clear. If you by not doing your job and playing your part, or by subverting federal immigration law, you are involved in a crime, you will be charged and you will be arrested as an elected official. And I am glad to hear that because quite frankly, that's what needs to happen. A lot of these left-wing liberals, they do this stuff because there are no consequences for their decisions. And I'm not saying that there should be consequences for merely being wrong. But when you are clearly violating and subverting the law, you ought to pay the consequences for that.
Yep, absolutely. And I think the people are fed up, and that's what we're going to see.
I pray we're going to see that. I once again, I'm always mindful because so often this stuff just seems like it's a short-term thing. Like, okay, it's the fad for the moment. We're going to believe this for now. And I don't want this to be just for now. I want this to be the way it is, that, things like freedom of speech means something. The right to keep and bear arms means something, that free markets are actually free markets, and, America first. And that's one of the things that really pisses me off with people call America first, quote unquote, nationalism, as if it's evil. But America first of all, understand this. America first does not mean America only. But it does mean that it's the people who live here, the people who were raised here, the people who are legal citizens, take priority. Just like the people in your house, your family, your kids, your spouse, like they take priority for you. Well, in the United States of America, the people who live, or the people who are citizens of the United States of America, should take precedent over the rest of the world when it comes to solving problems, addressing issues.
Yeah, agreed. That's the way it should work, and hopefully it will soon.
There you go. That is America first. Not America only, just America first. Anyway. All right, folks, so that then brings us to our parting shots. Parting shots are brought to you by Hog Holsters. Just go to hogholsters.com, use the discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces, and get your hog holster today. Our parting shots today were once again brought to you by the Babylon Bee, fake news that you can count on. This first one here, it says here, guy who said Facebook was not suppressing free speech announces Facebook will stop suppressing free speech. I just felt like this one was important to share, largely because he did say that they weren't. Even when he did that original admission, he kind of hemmed and hawed and kind of, he was what's the word I'm looking for? He kind of pretended like, well, yeah, but not really, right?
Yeah, very non-committal.
Yeah, but
did not take any responsibility.
Did not, and I still believe he hasn't taken responsibility. At least he's kind of done it kind of, meekly at best. Okay, now moving right along. Also from the Babylon Bee, it says here, Biden issues imminent terrorist warning due to the 11 terrorists he just released from prison.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right.
Okay, and then the last one, once again, also from the Babylon Bee. Bill Nye medal revoked after old hate speech comes to light. And that was, and if, for those of you who are listening to the program, it's got a picture of Bill Nye back in the day. It says here, gender is determined by your chromosomes.
Yeah. And Craig, I believe there's 3 more pictures that you got sent that we're going to include on today's little parting shots here.
You know what? I just see them. They just came across. Let me see if I can get them here on the thingy.
Shots here. Good little
Okay, a couple little parting shots.
I see they also took when they took Bill Nye's medal away from him, they also took the color out of his hair from him as well. They took.
Okay. And I'm guessing, well, hold on, wait. Let's go back real quick. Let's go there. You said 3 of them, right? There we go.
Yes,
okay,
sir.
one of them you need to pay very, very close attention to. Let's see here. Bringing it up. For those of you who are going to be there in Las Vegas for SHOT, we want to invite you to join us. That's right. To the welcome party for SHOT Show. Join us and all our friends at the Las Vegas Hofbrauhaus, sponsored by Arms Room Radio, Next Level Training, Imperium Strategic Group, Hog Holsters, Woody, how you got Gun Tech USA,
and the Rundown, yeah,
and the Rundown. Yeah, we got to get the Rundown on here. Hitman Industries and Lion Arms. Come get your. We're gonna make SHOT Show great again.
Yep, making SHOT Show great again. Exactly right.
Okay, let's go the other way, and then we've got. Bill's time machine now lives in 1995.
Yeah. Here's the big announcement. Look at this guy. He's living in 95 now. You got the shirt on with the necklace outside. You got the Jew fro on his head there, a little curly hair going on. That's when you said he had a big announcement. I'm looking at him going, that bro, he's got a time machine. He's living in 95 now. Look at him.
Okay, so Mike, just so you know, okay, the word Jew in and of itself is not racist when it's used as a noun. When you start using it as an adjective or a verb, such as the term that you used, Jufro, yeah, that's kind of racist, bruh.
That's a noun. The Jufro, that's a haircut. That's a haircut style. The Jufro.
No, the fro is the noun. The descriptor.
Well, if I don't specify
Jufro,
not. Then everybody's going to think he's got Don King fro or something.
Okay. Anyway,
hey, hold on, I'm gonna
and then. Obviously, from Mike, an unsolicited dick pic.
Well, we talked about him. You have to be able
to
have this.
By the way, Dick Nixon. Dick Nixon. For those of you listening, I know people are listening on Apple iTunes. They're like, "What?"
Yeah.
Yes. No peni on the show. Not visible anyway.
Nope. It says these. Okay. The term itself merely a combination of the words Jewish and Afro, like bromance, bro plus romance, or skirt plus shorts. No insensitivity so far. These mergers are often trying for humor or christening a newish cultural trend. There you go.
Well, you get that from Wikipedia? So Wikipedia's now been zucked.
I got it from New York Times. So there.
Oh.
Even New York Times says it's not offensive.
I'm sorry. I forgot. You can be racist against Jews. That's a new thing now. Yes, it is okay to be racist against Jews now.
I don't think so. That's only if you're a LGBT
on a college campus
for Palestine. That's just
okay. All right. So it's okay to be Muslim and be racist against Jews, or liberal and be racist against Jews, but.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Okay. Yeah. Well, all right, folks. Well, hey, that brings us around just about to the end of the program. But before we go, we got to do one last thing, and that is give one more quick shout out to our sponsors.
Hitman Industries, hitmanindustries.net. You can get rifle and pistol caliber barrels, any length you desire for your next AR rifle or pistol build. That's hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly, fighting a good fight behind enemy lines. Now you can take part in California's future today. And go to uscombatgear.com. You can get all of the tactical gear you need for military, law enforcement, security, fire, EMS, or your civilian occupation, where you can get everything except a gun at uscombatgear.com.
That's right, folks. Once again, please follow the links in the description to this program to visit our sponsors, spend some money with them, tell them the guys over at the Rundown sent you. And with that, we're going to call it a day. We will be back tomorrow on Hump Day. Till then, y'all have fun, stay safe, and if you get a chance, make sure to send a few downrange. Holler at you later.